Zhang had to take a step backward. Dongjia had already become accustomed to this sort of occurrence. So Dongjia turned a blind eye and kept filling out the records, while Zhang was left utterly clueless. She dared not return. Dongjia was as unbothered as ever, so Zhang snatched the notebook and pen, scribbling down a mysterious number. She begged Dongjia to help her contact this person as soon as he finished speaking. The caregiver who just punched Zhang walked in, seeing Dongjia dawdling, unable to even feed her a pill, and grabbed Zhang's chin. Zhang fought back desperately, but the caregiver just shoved the pills down her throat. It was only during the next meal that Zhang discovered there were actually many girls like her, but they all seemed completely numb from the beatings. Only one girl named Milu, noticing Zhang was new, hurried over to chat. Zhang seized the chance to ask her, "What's going on here?" Zhang asked. Milu looked puzzled. She was abducted from home at night. Since then, she never managed to get out again. Xiuya was filled with doubts and wanted to ask further, but Milu suddenly shouted out in terror, "Kids, hurry and run away. You've been constantly taking your medications, and the kid's home is trapped and captured." Milu started tugging at Zhang's skirt, pinching her hard, making Zhang scream in pain. The caregiver finally dared to pull Milu away, but it was Zhang who got dragged off to the dark room. The others couldn't help but chuckle at the scene. They were all normal people before, now they were certified nuts. Captured here, subjected to endless beatings, medication, and isolation, they really did become insane. After being locked in the small dark room, Zhang dozed off, but in her dazed state, she felt something poking into her clothes. She jumped up in fright and saw a hole in the wall, with a big black hand sticking through, making her huddle into the corner. She didn't dare to make a sound, while the hand continued to roam around the bed. When the hand found nothing, it withdrew reluctantly. Meanwhile, Zhang heard the sound of the iron door opening. She rushed to the door to peek outside and saw Milu swinging in the hallway, feeling like she was about to suffocate. Desperate to find a doctor for surgery. Then, Milu opened a door, revealing the director of the institution who was in charge of Zhang's case. Entering, Milu mistook the director for a doctor, lying on the desk and demanding a new uterus. The director got excited instantly. She pulled out a mysterious pill, fed it to Milu, and Milu instantly became extremely excited, cooperating with the director for surgery. Listening to Milu's maniacal laughter, Zhang felt a chill run down her spine, terrified, her hands unconsciously clinging to the floor. The man across heard the commotion and roared, "Come on, bad luck." Zhang couldn't make sense of that line, but she noticed Milu had seemingly been drugged so badly that she couldn't sleep at all. All she could think about was getting surgery from the director. Every night around 11 p.m., the caregiver would take away a patient for surgery. Strangely, those patients disappeared afterward, which terrified Zhang, causing her to start planning her escape. However, there were cameras everywhere, so escaping was impossible for Zhang. To teach her a lesson for misbehaving, the caregiver beat her up when Dongjia came to deliver food. Seeing Zhang in such a pitiful state tugged at her heart a little, but she was just a new kid. The hospital policy said a patient could only be discharged with the guardian's consent, so Dongjia was powerless. The next day, Milu told Zhang about a girl next door who knew how to escape. Zhang was thrilled, and that night she knocked on the wall to contact the girl next door, only to find her consumed with bizarre thoughts. "Milu, is it really? The secret passage is indeed here." It was surreal. The psychiatric ward's bathroom was co-ed. Now Zhang understood what she meant. She was absolutely against it, but in her desperation to escape, the next morning she went to the bathroom, only to face a nightmare. The girl next door told Zhang that the only escape route was in the director's office, with the code being 44s. In exchange, she asked Zhang to repay her nicely. But Zhang bit her, and the scream immediately attracted the director's attention. Along with a crowd of onlookers who were also patients, Zhang seized the chance to escape and dashed straight for the director's office. When she pressed the 44s, the door didn't open. The code was still incorrect. It seemed the girl next door had tricked her. The director was standing not far behind Xiuya, and she was overwhelmed with anxiety and fear. Luckily, Milu appeared at the right moment in time. She came to see the director every night and should know the password. Milu turned to leave at that. Then she turned back, quickly pressing on the wall. Zhang hurriedly mimicked her moves to press the numbers. The door opened. Zhang slipped in and frantically searched the director's office, only to find opening the wardrobe, the tunnel leading outside. At that moment, the door's keep had suddenly beeped, and the director walked in. Zhang quickly dove into the tunnel, which seemed bottomless. She could only hold onto a steel rod and slide down carefully. But then her back hit a protruding bar, instantly piercing her arm, and blood gushed out. The pain was almost unbearable, yet she dared not make a sound. The keen director heard the dripping. She quietly approached the wardrobe, yelling, "Who's there?" Zhang's hands went limp, and she let go of the steel bar, tumbling into the tunnel. Luckily, she did not die. Once she got out, she immediately began searching for an exit and found that. The paths were complex and winding, but the lighting was perfect, reminiscent of an underground parking lot, except it just kept going downward. As long as you're still here with us, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for your support.